All right, I chose a spicy one. I chose a real spicy one here. This is Simplicissimus magazine. This is from 1923, which this is during the occupation of the Ruhr by the French, and French colonial troops, and how many Germans were killed there. So yeah, so people want to get racist about it. Blame Simplicissimus magazine from 1923. Anywho, well, let's talk about why. Why is China winning? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that China is united. Whereas the United States, it's in the name, is not. Secondly, is that in general, I think the billionaires that exist is that, we've seen Beardy Branson, as the Top Gear boys say, but Beardy Branson is worried about going into space. Elon Musk is worried about going into space. The general move is for space travel. The general move is into space. That is what they are focused on. They have given up on infrastructure. They have given up on the United States in general. And I know, Branson lives in the UK. I know. And Virgin Records and all, I know. The fact is, though, is that this is one element, though, is that billionaires are focused on space. They're not focused on infrastructure. They're not focused on helping the average person. They don't care. They do not care in the West about the average person. They simply give lip service to the LGBTQIA movements, the gay movements, because it gives them some sort of cred. And it keeps enough liberals happy. It keeps enough liberals happy so that they can, say, well, it's better representation, this and that. And everyone can be galaxy brained about it and say, well, actually, this is what it really means. It's more like the meme of, I can't do the meme. But anywho, that's what it is. I saw, like I say, I found another great group of Vosh clips where he was talking with Owen Jones. Yes, that Owen Jones. Where Vosh says, like I said, there are many other spicy clips I may find, but yeah, we are neocons. This is the list of videos I'll have. We are neocons. Vosh defending Rojava, not surprising. Owen Jones reminisces on Trotsky. And basically, even though that Owen Jones said that he was a gay guy, he says that basically the basic idea is the LGBTQIA movement isn't all the same thing. To say that transgenderism and a gay dude are the same thing, they aren't. People like this, people like him are so mad and say, oh, China's already going to include Afghanistan in the Belt and Road Initiative. How dare they? This is like being mad at your next door neighbor because, like, oh, he's putting in a garage. It's like, why do you care? It's just your neighbor building a garage. Why are you so upset about the Belt and Road Initiative? We gave up what we wanted, right? It's just like having a piece of land that people have been continuing to burn and all this sort of stuff, and you sell it to somebody, or let's say it's empty, and they're going to put a road through it, and you're upset about that. It doesn't make any sense, right? You gave up that land. Why are you so mad about it? Like I said, there are plenty of things to criticize about China, and yeah, there's a certain part of me that says, yeah, I wish America would do better infrastructure or put in trains in the United States or whichever, right? And try to build better ties. But the U.S. has never been good at that. It has never been good at that. But of course, there are so many morons out there who just think, American democracy is so great. It's the greatest thing ever. It's just like, ignore. But then, of course, they'll in the same breath, they will mention, oh, but it's awful with the, the upcoming laws where, where voter suppression is happening and all that. Oh, well, I guess American democracy isn't that great. Oh, but, if we just had the right people and it's all so tiring. Like I say, I was going to make a video eventually to say, why is China bad? It's like, yeah, but the thing is, though, is that we created this mess to a point. I know that this is something that Wignats talked about months ago, but I'll talk about it now. The U.S., and more specifically, South Korea and Japan, willingly sold willingly sold patents and willingly sold information and recipes, or whichever word you want to say, to make screens for phones and for laptops or whatever, iPads. They willingly sold these patents. They willingly sold this information to China. They willingly did it. This is why the same people who will cope and say, oh, if only capitalism was, this isn't real capitalism, this is crony capitalism. Crony capitalism is capitalism, number one. But number two is that capitalism created this bullshit. They did. Like I say, I'm not even going to sit here and go into some deeper Marxist analysis. But it's like, holy shit, you guys are fucking stupid. Libertarians who think that somehow they willingly sold it. Okay? When Hyundai was broken up in South Korea, there's a fledgling Chinese technology company that was doing, like, I can't remember what it was doing offhand. I have to refer back to Asianometry. Let me see here. Asianometry, let's see here. What was his recent video? I just need a little quick refresher here. But basically, I keep on leaving it out, and I've thought about it for a few days. And now that I'm here doing it, I'm like, I cannot think of it. Okay, so let me see here. It was about BOE technology. Yeah, BOE technology being the next OLED supplier for Apple. So this company, BOE Technology, was like a fledgling company that was making like 10 parts or something, like it was just a random company. And through the privatization and through the reforms of Deng Xiaoping, it became a company that was able to make flat screen displays. The thing that this is the whole thing to me when you hear about this sort of horseshit that goes on, where it's just like, oh, well, we need to blame China and everyone's just shitting their pants over China. To a point, we willingly gave up this technology. The United States, the so-called Western allied nations like South Korea, even though South Korea is its own thing, they willingly sold this stuff. It's the same thing of rubber. I saw a video from CNBC talking about rubber. And it's like, most 90% of the rubber comes from Thailand. And now morons are like, well, if we just grow dandelions, then we can get, then we can just cut them open and we can get the stuff to make, I can't even think of it. Latex. I think it's actually latex, where it comes out as a liquid and then they man, I can't think of words. Anyway, but the reason why China is winning is also because because the culture war has infested everything in the United States. We're still talking about critical race theory and holding that back or whatever. There is no unity. There is no unified sense of, country. There is no unified sense of what the United States is. There really isn't. In my opinion, there is not. Like I said, I think people just broadly, that's why people broadly go across the country where it's just like, yeah, it's all the same bullshit, right? Where you can go to Burger King, McDonald's, it's going to be the same thing. But it's like, I don't know, man. There is a part of me, and I will say that, that kind of can agree with, oh, well, China's bad and Russia bad. But the thing is, though, is what are you going to do about it? That's always the question, right? It's the same question I ask about just about damn near everything. I was watching this old boomer talking about, the assassination of JFK. And this guy, was a writer for High Times. Yes, the weed magazine. Yeah, High Times magazine. And he was talking about the real reason that JFK was killed was because they were going to assassinate Castro, but he went back on them and said that JFK was going to work on world peace, and that's why they killed him. Give me a fucking break. I like I said, this is one of those things where it's like the JFK sort of stuff. Look, you can go ahead and say all these people killed JFK, but it's like, look, to try to glorify JFK as if he was some big hero. No, he was not. He was basically a party bro with his brother, Bobby, who they had their sexcapades. They were sleeping with West German agents and Marilyn Monroe. And of course, JFK had to get, these big old shots in his back and everything. He limited the civil rights movement, if you really want to look at it that way. He would have been arrested anyway. Like I say, even Red Dwarf brought that up, where it's like, yeah, he would have been arrested anyway. He would have been kicked out. So he was screwed no matter what. And who knows what Ted Kennedy, like I said, that scumbag, what he would have done. But anywho, what would they have done? What would they have realistically done? And I know, like I say, I'm going real schizo, but I don't care at this point. The fact is that we allowed, and I say the West or whatever you want to say, we allowed China to buy this technology and to buy this information. But now suddenly everyone's getting mad about it because the Chinese were able to adapt it and to make it their own. But suddenly, because of that, they're all shitting their pants now. And they're all just like, well, that's not good. We shouldn't let China do that. China doesn't like democracy. And it's like, well, you don't give a fuck about democracy either. You just give lip service to the idea that democracy is great. You don't care about it. You don't give a shit about democracy. The fuck does that even mean? What does that word even mean now? Is it just because, like I say, can we at least agree on this, that democracy is not simply electoralism? Can we at least agree on that democracy is not simply electoralism? Because I think that people honestly think that democracy is just electoralism, or it's just like, because you can vote, that's electoralism. It's just, I don't know what these folks are holding on to. I really don't. I just, when you come to this point where you're just so black-pilled on everything, I mean, when I say I'm black-pilled, I'm just like 2 steps away from just, whenever shit pops off, to just go, you know what? Fed post. There you go. That's all I'm going to say to that. But people like Vosh claim to be black-pilled, but will still shill for the U.S. They'll still shill for, saying, oh, well, we shouldn't get involved with Cuba, but Cuba has its problems. And they're so mad at Russia or whatever the case may be. They talk about fascism. Like I say, he described fascism as something that simultaneously makes a country look powerful, but weak at the same time, or weak and powerful at the same time, whichever order you want to put it. And they do this with Russia all the time to make it seem like, oh, well, Russia punches way above its weight class, and oh my gosh, Russia's, they influence things, and Russia pays for BLM. He mentioned that because I know that people have said that, that people like Superpowered Broadcasting mentioned that, oh, well, BLM is paid for by the Russians. And it's just like, and that's really what all conspiracy theories are based on, isn't it? Where it's like, because X group is paid by Y group, that we have to be against them because of that. And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like we did this to ourselves to a large degree, but nobody's going to say that out loud. They're just going to say, well, we need to, we're going to invest more and everything else like that. And I guess Joe Biden is going to invest more in green technology. Is he going to do anything about, is he going to try to be the next Roosevelt, as people have said? I doubt it. I really do. I doubt it. I just, we deserve what we get. We'll put it that way. We deserve what we get, whatever it is, which is not going to be pretty. I personally think balkanization in some way. I think that, I'm sure that people said that Gauteng and Natal were all, like I say, these were all very peaceful areas, and now suddenly there's riots and everything else going on because of Jacob Zuma. And it's like, now part of that comes from a tribal connection, right? Comes from the fact that he's Zulu. Now, I don't, like I say, it's a complex issue. People are just saying that what's going on in South Africa is purely because of, well, Jacob Zuma was put in prison because he refused to testify at this corruption trial or whatever. I think it goes deeper than that, and it just like I say, I know that's probably the Wignat point, but it's like, this country is barely hanging on. And I doubt, unless we do some real deep skullduggery against China, which is what the U.S. is probably best at to a certain degree, but unless we do some real skullduggery, there's no way we're going to compete with China. Let's beat them, not even beat, but just compete with China. So while I can disagree with China, I know that they're probably going to win. And people are going to cope and say, China and Russia are going to take over the U.S. Certain parts, but no. They're going to have their proxies, just like the U.S., right? They have their own separate little governments. So when the U.S. breaks apart, they're going to set up their own little puppet governments. So I don't know, man. I think it's all bullshit at the end of the day. Just, we did it to ourselves, and that's the end of it. Anywho, that was a long bit of schizo rant. I hope y'all enjoyed this. See you later, and a goodbye.